Welcome to your Entrepreneur Resources Show. I'm super excited that you're here with me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Venice, your host, and here at your Entrepreneur Resources, we discover the no-fluff action steps to help you avoid all the overwhelm and all the BS out there, connecting you with the right mentors, resources, and tools, helping you every step of the way on your entrepreneurial journey. We go live here twice a week, interviewing different entrepreneurs and experts on all areas of business, so make sure to join our Facebook group and look out for the events inside your Entrepreneur Resources page. You can find all the links in the description box. Today, I have a very special guest with me. It's Veronica. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I love to be here. Excited.
Thank you. So, Veronica is an award-winning visibility strategist with more than 20 years of experience in public relations. In this interview with Veronica, we'll discuss what a visibility strategy is, why you need one, and how to get one. I'm super excited to talk about visibility. I think it's super important for every single entrepreneur and online business owner or business owner in general. So, before we dive in, I would love for you to share more about your business and your journey with us. Start wherever you want.
So I will start from the beginning, and that is that I'm a storyteller. I've always been a storyteller, even as a child. I knew that I wanted to embellish and share and get people to feel the emotions I was feeling. And so as I got older and found a career, I realized that public relations was a great way of storytelling. At first, I thought I wanted to be a journalist. Public relations was really the way I wanted to go. And that led me to a 25-year plus career that I've had in both the corporate space, hospitality, finance, education, and healthcare. And I love working with entrepreneurs because they all have unique stories to tell and share. And I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. That's so exciting. I love that you've kind of worked in all kinds of industries. So for any entrepreneurs that's in the audience, I feel like you can help them out, right? That's
Hmm.
incredible. So let's start with what is a visibility strategy? What is it exactly?
Well, there's a lot of different parts of visibility strategy. There's advertising, marketing, public relations, branding. At the end of the day, a visibility strategy is making sure that all of those components are aligned and that your messaging is clear, it's concise, and it really targets what the services are that you can offer, whether it's a product or a service based business. So, having a strong visibility strategy means that you're incorporating all of those components into what it is you're doing.
Definitely. So I know you mentioned branding, I know you mentioned public relations and all of that. So for someone that were to start today, what do you think they should kind of focus on? I think you might touch on that a little bit later on, but I feel like there's so many components and it can be very overwhelming, right? So what do you recommend people to kind of like focus and hone in on like their first day of being an entrepreneur?
Well, I would say the first thing you need to do is be able to answer the question, what problem are you trying to solve? What problem are you trying to solve with your product, with the service? And more importantly, how is it that you are going to help people understand that you've got a solution for whatever problem it is that they have. So once that has been determined, then you make sure your branding is aligned to it. That includes your color palettes, your typeface, your tagline, all of those components, the type of photography and imaging that you're using. It could even be the look and feel, the tone of your digital footprint, your marketing on your website or your Instagram. And so the first thing you need to do is make sure that your promise, which is your brand, is aligned to your values and it's aligned to the products or services that you're offering. And that's really where a lot of people misstep. They don't invest enough time and energy in making sure that there's alignment.
Yeah, definitely. So when you talk about alignment, it's like the brand message, like
Right.
the kind of like vision that you're trying to convey through your brand, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And it's more than just a mission or a vision. It could also be the journey, and it could be the origin story, because people want to be able to connect with your brand. They want to connect with you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and they want to have not only a connection but a reciprocal and synergistic relationship. You bring them value and they bring you additional customers, references, referrals. And so when they feel like they're engaged with you or a part of your business, then they're going to be more loyal. They're gonna give
Hmm.
you more referrals. The reviews are gonna be fantastic. They're gonna want to promote you and share with their friends and family the services you've been able to provide them. So it's not just the promise of who you are for them, but the promise of the type of relationship that could exist between your brand and your clients. Or if it's a product based, your brand and your customers.
Absolutely. I love that so much. So let's talk a little bit more about why you need, I mean, you already touched on that a little bit, but exactly why is it that's so important, like not just to kind of get in front of the right audience. Why is it that people need a strategy, a visibility strategy in their business?
Right. So if you think about a blueprint to construct a building or construct an automobile, they lay the foundation. The blueprints help you see where the building blocks are. They show you what can be added on later, maybe aftermarket. So if you think about your business that way, you really need a blueprint, and that includes your visibility strategy. And when people design a business plan, they might include a small section on marketing, but they don't invest a lot of time in the entire visibility strategy. And so that's really where I think entrepreneurs can spend a little bit more time and resources, especially for service based folks, coaches, VAs, solopreneurs. That's really where I think some of them lose a little bit of momentum as they're launching their business.
Mhm. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. It is definitely so important to have a strategy and kind of, I mean, in in every area of your business, right? Like you can't just wing it. Just go in there and like, okay, I'm gonna try this and then I'm gonna try that. You kind of have to strategize it.
Right.
Um, so like that's such a great point. And now we're going to talk about how do you have a visibility strategy. And I know you have been in this field for so long and you have so many tips and I'm gonna try to fish them all out from you. Maybe not all of them, but all the major ones.
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy
Yes,
to share.
please.
I'm happy to share. Look, I'll tell you when I'm collaborating with people and I get an opportunity to speak in front of a group and share my expertise, I feel like I'm giving back. So anything I can do to help give back is really just going to promote someone else's business, and that's just good for the universe. So I'm all about that. But I would
That's
say
awesome.
yeah, so how to get a visibility strategy, right? So now we know what one is. We know why it's important. We know that it's the foundation of your business and how to move it forward. And there's several ways to do it. Number one, you just need to educate yourself. Educate yourself on some basic concepts. For example, bless you, advertising is one function, marketing is another function, public relations is another function. Those are all very valuable and they're helpful with businesses, but if they're not used and organized wisely and to complement each other, then they can really hurt your business. So how you get a visibility strategy is understanding what your goal is, the problem you're trying to solve, identifying your target audience, really peeling back that onion and identifying your target audience, understanding what tone to use with that audience, where they consume their information, how they make their decisions, all the things that are considered in a purchase, in considering a purchase or a commitment to work with someone. So when all of that is put together, then you have an opportunity to craft a message that's really going to speak into that. So how to get one is to craft a message. How to get a visibility strategy is to craft a message that speaks to your target audience, addresses their pain points, and identifies a solution that only you can bring to the table. So if you're a mindset coach, for example, there's a dozen or so mindset coaches that may be in your niche, but you have to identify the one thing that's going to help you stand out. Maybe you've been featured in the Today Show or in a large publication. Maybe you've been interviewed by Oprah. Maybe you've spoken at a TED Talk in front of thousands of people. You have to find that one hook that separates you from the others in your field so that you can create more momentum. And so, getting a visibility strategy is really about doing the work of understanding how to craft a message, crafting the message, and then executing it. So, Some people like to do it themselves. They like to take courses. I offer a couple of different
Mhm,
courses on my website about that. Some people
mhm,
prefer masterminds. Some people like one on one coaching. And some people just like to hire a firm, whether it's a large firm or a small boutique firm. But really, at the end of the day, if you're not doing it yourself, you need to be working with a professional who knows how to craft a message that's going to speak into your target audience's listening. And it's not just a visual component. It's also how we use our words, how we craft our phrases, the tone of voice that we use. And it could be as simple as subtle changes in images that are used. So, having a strong visibility strategy is completely accessible to anyone with the right training. You don't have to go to college for years and have 20 plus years experience the way I do. If it's something you're passionate about wanting to learn, there's great resources out there. But those are generally the two ways that people find themselves with a successful visibility strategy.
mhm. Oh my gosh, you just dropped so many bombs. I do want to come back a little bit to the beginning of what you're just like all the tips that you just shared. When you said marketing, advertising, and public relations, I think maybe some people in the audience might not actually know the difference between the three. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about that?
Happy to. So, advertising is probably the concept that most people are familiar with, and that is a paid for exposure. You are paying for a specific reach. You identify your target audience, you know their demographics, whether it's a man, it's a woman, their ages, their ethnicity, their buying power. You can go on and click all the little boxes that are going to match your demographics, and you exchange money for paid exposure. The objective of advertising is to convert into sales. That is its sole purpose, is to convince the receiver to purchase or engage with you for paid services. So marketing is a different approach, and again, these are all of these comprise a very um, strong visibility strategy. Marketing, on the other hand, is partnering, it's collaboration, it's providing a service like this. This is a prime example of marketing, providing a free service and information to get exposure with the intent of expanding your reach to people who may or may not be interested in your services. But the ultimate goal is not necessarily to convert into sales the way advertising does. It's usually for free or a small paid for fee. For example, if a local nonprofit is hosting an event and they're looking for sponsors, well, if you're a realtor, you decide, hey, I'm going to sponsor a $500 table and this is what I'm going to get in exchange. The realtor isn't expecting necessarily to get business from that event that they just sponsored, but they are expecting to get exposure, an opportunity to share who they are, share their values, and make connections with people. That's marketing. Again, a very important function of a visibility strategy. And then public relations, which is my jam and where I spend most of my days and nights. In the public relations space, we are working toward earned media, and that's traditional and non traditional media. It includes writing press releases, pitching to reporters, television, radio, news, podcasters, bloggers, print journalists, digital journalists. There's a plethora of opportunities out there, and the objective of public relations is to be designated as an expert in your field. So it's all about legitimizing your brand. And what that looks like, let's use that realtor example that I just gave you. Uh, Say the New York Times is doing a story on real estate prices. Well, they might talk to somebody in New York, they want to talk to someone in California, and then they maybe want to talk to someone up in the Midwest. Well, the realtor that gets selected to answer those reporters' questions has now been legitimized by the New York Times. That neutral third party entity has said, you are good enough, your opinion matters, what you have to say is important, and we're going to ask you these questions so that the general public can be informed. Now, that realtor, again, isn't necessarily going to expect to get business directly from that article, but what they are going to be able to do is promote that article, repackage it on all of their social media outlets and all of their marketing materials, and say, as featured in the New York Times, a local realtor who X, Y, and Z. And And not only does it legitimize you, but it also gives you more credentialing. And, and I see this happen, especially in the coaching space. My coaches who are featured in national and international publications can then raise their prices to match the caliber and the pedigree that they bring along with their services. So there's an opportunity to really leverage the media in a way that helps your business grow. And the other thing I would say about public relations is it's an investment. It's the long game. It's what we call the long game. And I tell entrepreneurs all the time who are interested in talking to me about my services, if this is your last ditch attempt to send your business to the next level, and you are pushing out as much money as you're bringing in, public relations is not going to help you. You want to invest your dollars in advertising with a strong advertising budget that's with the objective and converting to sales. If you are established, if you have steady income, if you are in the long game and you're trying to set yourself apart, public relations is what you need to really take you to the next level and set you apart from the competition. So that's generally the difference between the three functions.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel like you made it so clear because I think when I was just starting out as an entrepreneur as well, I was so confused. I'm like, okay, there is marketing, but there's advertising. What's the difference? So you made it super clear. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I love that you talked about how public relations is your focus, and a lot of the time it's about pitching to media. And I know everyone is pitching to media all the time, right? Like there's like Forbes and New York Times and all these like huge publications that are looking for people, and they probably received hundreds, if not thousands, of people saying, "Hey, like I've got this very special thing going on, and please like write about me." Um, I know you talked about brand messaging and how you can stand out through your brand. What other tips do you have for people that want to kind of appear in front of these publications and want to say, "Hey, look at me," and want to stand out from the crowd?
Well, the first thing you need to do is be able to stand out from the crowd. You have to have something unique about you or your service. It has to be newsworthy. I'll give you an example. Say there is a teacher whose students did this phenomenal project and it won an award, and they send that to the media, and the media is going to say, okay, well, who else won the award, how many other schools won that award? And then they do a little research, and they figure out that 40 schools across the country won that award. Well, that's not newsworthy. That's not really going to be a good fit for the readers. But say there's a teacher whose class developed a project, NASA picked it up, and NASA put it on the shuttle and sent it into outer space. And because that's happened, and those students were the only 5 students in the entire planet whose project is going into outer space. That's pretty phenomenal. And that's pretty interesting. And that's the difference. So everyone who's pitching themselves has to understand that when they're pitching, they need to pitch something that's newsworthy, that's unique, or that's going to bring value to a community, or to a space. And that's true for any industry and any business. Wellness, mindset coaches, brick and mortar offices, virtual assistants who have a passion for working with maybe foster children, or everyone's got something special about themselves. You have to be able to find that and very quickly be able to tap into it. And I'll give you an example. There are very few attorneys who specialize in trademarking who are fewer women. There are fewer women than men, and there are even fewer Hispanic women in the trademarking space that are practicing online, or strictly in the online space. So whenever there's an opportunity for me to pitch one of my clients that meets that description, I start with Latina immigrant trademark attorney who grew up in a foster home, shares her journey of XYZ. And so anytime they're looking for someone who meets any of those criteria, they're going to hone in on someone who's just a little more unique than the next person. And that's really where the magic lies. And then the other thing I would say is when you're pitching, make sure you give completely factual information. Don't exaggerate. Don't overindulge. Um,
So true.
yeah, tell the truth. Just tell the truth because they're going to find out anyway. And make sure that your messaging is succinct. Tell the story and do it in a way that isn't long winded. If they want more information, if they want to write more column inches, they'll come to you to get it. So when you're pitching, start with the most important thing at the front, at the top. Think about an inverted pyramid. In journalism school, they teach us to write with an inverted pyramid with the lead being the very top. If your opening sentence says everything that needs to be said about that, no one will have to read the rest of the story. And that's what you
Yes.
want. That's what you want. You want to hook them from the very beginning.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. So, where would you suggest people find these kind of publications or opportunities like that? I know you probably have a vault of places or like resources that you've got, but if you can share maybe like a few, that would be really great.
Yeah, there's some great resources out there. Some of them are free, some of them are paid for. In the profession, most of us subscribe to different distribution lines, and they connect us directly to reporters and other publications. Same thing with podcasting. I participate in several paid for podcasting services where I get to interact with podcasters looking for guests, and then it allows me to pitch my clients as guests for their shows. But one of my favorites, and I think it's very effective, especially for someone who's wanting to do this on their own, do it DIY style, I like to say, is Haro, Help a Reporter Out, HARO. And it's a great service. You can subscribe for free. You get an email 3 times a day, and it's reporters and bloggers and podcasters looking for sources for their stories. And when you can do that, it really opens the door for you.
Yes, absolutely. I love Harrow. I am subscribed to them. I try to check every other day or something, but it does get very overwhelming because you get so many queries sent to your mailbox and
You
you're
do.
just going through trying to find the right ones that work for you. Which leads me to my next point really well. If you were to not have the time, like if you were to, like hire out the help, find a VA or find someone like you to help with, like pitching to publications. Where do you find such people? Or like, for example, how do you get them on board? Or how do you like make sure that that person knows who would be a good fit for you?
I would say the first thing to do is do your homework. If you're in several Facebook groups, if you're involved in a mastermind, if you're connected to folks, do your research and ask for references. I would say, gosh, 98% of my business comes from referrals, personal references, and personal referrals. So I would start there. There are some traditional brick and mortar businesses that you can get these kinds of services for. You can also get them from boutique agencies. But at the end of the day, for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people who are really managing their businesses on smaller budgets, the best way to do it is to do it through your network, through your professional network.
Mhm. And if I were to say hire you to help me with pitching to publications and for my visibility, how does that even work? Like, I'm just very curious because I've never hired out to anybody in the past. So I'm really curious to like, how does that relationship work?
So you want to be able to work with someone that you've got trust with, and that has an open door policy that you can reach out to. I work with my clients on a monthly retainer basis, so I have different packages based on their individual needs. I have meetings with them. I identify the problem that they're trying to solve. I help them identify their target audience. I help them really adjust their branding to make sure it's aligned to their values, and we have an onboarding process, and we just work together as a team. Again, I will remind everybody, public relations is the long game. So you want to make sure you're willing to make a 3 to 6 month commitment before you invest. And if there's anyone out there who is asking you to pay for placement, that's advertising. Earned
Mm,
media is earned. It is not paid for. It comes with a different format, a different process. So don't get tricked by people who say, well, if you pay me, I guarantee you'll be in Forbes. There's no guarantee. I can pitch one client 20 times in a week and get absolutely no hits, or I can pitch 2 weeks later that same client to 20 different places and get 5 hits. It really depends on the news cycle because again, we're legitimizing your business with the natural news cycle that's already existent. We're trying to dovetail into it. We are not creating space like advertising does.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that just blew my mind a little bit because, like for me, for example, I always pitch to guest blog for different like websites out there, and when I do that, sometimes they come back to me and they say, "Hey, we charge this much
Yeah,
for a sponsored post," and I'm thinking in my head, no, but I don't want to spot like I want it to be like you said, earned advertisement, or earned
earned
placement, right?
media. Yeah. Hmm.
Earned media. So instead of me paying, I want to pitch them something so interesting that they would want to put into their onto their website. I guess same with publications, right? Like they wouldn't charge you because that becomes advertising. It's more about you having such an incredible story, such a interesting journey that they want to put onto their publication, right?
That's right.
So I love that you pointed that out. Oh my gosh, like mind blown moment right here.
Good, good.
um, yeah, so I have another quick question before we start wrapping up. For someone that were to start from scratch today, they have not much experience. I wouldn't say no experience, but they have their journey, they have their story. Um, where would you think they should start? Like, what kind, like for example, what kind of strategy should they start with? What kind of publication should they pitch to, or how often even should they consider spending time on pitching to publications or media?
Yeah, the first thing they need to do is identify what their goals are, map out their goals, and then build a path towards them. Make sure that their messaging is aligned, that the pitching is aligned, that their one pager that they're using to pitch themselves, which is a great tool, is it looks professional. If they do nothing else, they should invest in paying for a one pager if they're not confident that they can produce one that's of stellar quality, because it makes a huge difference. And then from there, it's really just reaching out to publications, podcasts, and media outlet that they feel is a good fit for their target audience. It's where are their potential clients hanging out, and once they're able to identify that, then it's just a matter of investing the time with phone calls, emails, and traditional submissions.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I feel like I'm going to walk away with so many notes, so much notes, and I'm going to put them all in the show notes for anyone that missed anything or need to just revisit these like top tips from Veronica. But before we wrap up, I know that you have a special gift for us. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I do have a special gift for everyone. It's one of my courses. It's Crafting a Powerful Message, and it is a step by step guide on how you can, either by yourself or with your team, can identify the components that are going to make the perfect message to send to your target audience. This course is normally $59. I'm making it available to your viewers only for free. It's a fantastic course. I think people are going to get some great benefit from it. And I'm excited to hear what people do with it. So thanks for the opportunity for me to share it.
No, absolutely. Oh my gosh, thank you. This is amazing for anyone and everyone that's listening. You have to go check it out. I'll put the link in the description box. And before I do let you go, I would love for you to share where we can find out more about you and connect with you.
Thank you. So you can find me at Veronica V Sopher. It's Sopher. I know you've got a link for it.com. That's my website. You can find out my more information about my courses, my packages, where it is I'm speaking, all the things that I'm up to. And then, of course, I've got a great group on Facebook, Magnifying Your Message with Media. And I go live in there once a week. I bring in phenomenal resources, including reporters, producers, people who are on the other end of getting pitches that are going to give you tips and executable things that you can do to make sure that your message is getting out there. So join my Facebook group. And of course, I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Veronica V Sopher.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being on the Entrepreneur Resources Show. You've provided such actionable tips and strategies, and I'm sure a lot of us are going to walk away with a lot of notes. And like I said before, make sure to check out the show notes that I'm going to link in the description box. We have our live interviews with experts here twice a week, so make sure to stay tuned and join our community on Facebook. And again, you can find all the links in the description box. We've also started speed networking rooms on Clubhouse where you can connect and collaborate with like-minded entrepreneurs. So if you're on Clubhouse, follow me at Venice. And you can also follow Veronica. I'm going to leave her handle in the description box as well. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll chat with you very soon. Have